Hey, what's up YouTube? Project Overland coming at you with an all new install video. Today I'm going to be installing my new leaf springs from Deaver. There's a stage 2 which can hold up to 400 to 600 pounds in the rear. So a quick backstory on my setup that I have right now is I have a set of custom Elcan leaf springs that are weighted for around 1,000 pounds. Or more, I think. I don't know the original numbers because I bought them new off of a guy on Vilmont. So I thought I was going to go with the rear swing out bumper. I ended up, installing the Elcans and not doing the rear bumper because of the added weight. And I'm already adding a lot of weight to the truck already, on top of soon to be 35s and 529s gears here in the near future. Be doing a video on that as well, but again, trying to lighten up the load in the rear and the overall truck. So I'm taking out my custom Elcan leaf springs that I bought new off of another guy, like I mentioned, but so I'll be posting those on Vilmont myself. They only have around like 4,000 or 5,000 miles on them, so if you're interested, leave a comment down below, hit me up. But as right now, I'm putting the stage 2 Deaver kit in. At the same time, I'm going to be installing Rago Fabrication rear shock skid plates as well. On top of that, I have Archive Garage hammer hangers and the rear cross tube that goes, where the spare tire goes, and I'll be relocating my spare tire to the bed of my truck with a Wilco mount. So stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions, again, leave a comment down below. If not, I'm going to get started here, and hopefully you guys enjoy the install video. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, so I already got a head start using my new Pro Eagle 3-ton jack. By the way, pretty awesome jack. If you guys haven't seen this company or heard of them, check them out. But I'll do a review on that later. If you guys have any questions, again, let me know. Anyways, I already got a head start by taking the tires off and jacking the truck up on some jack stands. I already installed the passenger side on the other side with the new leaf springs, the new Rago rear shock skid plate, and hammer hanger. I'll show you guys how it came out. So there's a new hammer hanger. You guys can see that under the dark. All bolted up with the leaf pack and U-bolts. So I wanted to save this side so I was a little bit more clear with the instructions that I'll be giving you guys. So first things first is I'm gonna unbolt my U-bolt, or my flip kit, whatever you want to call it. Most of you guys will probably have the stock setup, which is the bolts are pointed downward, so you would have to get underneath and unbolt those. Next, that's step number 1. Step number 2 would be unbolting your shock right here. Once that is loose, I'm going to bring the jack down and lower my rear axle. So and I'll show you guys that as well, but for that reason, it's gonna give me space between my leaf pack and the axle. It'll separate, and then at that point I can unbolt the front bolt and then unbolt the second back there for the leaf spring. So yeah, stay tuned, and then I'll show you guys the cutting and the drilling that I had to do to get my old hammer, or to get my old hangers off in order to put my new hammer hangers on. So stay tuned for that. Off my U-bolt flip kit, and now I'm moving on to taking this bolt off that I put in last time. That's why it's all rusted. I bought it from the hardware store to hold my brake line up, and And so now I'm just going to take this off with a half inch socket or whatever, and hold the back. It has a little nut on the back end. I'm going to hold it, take this brake line off. Then I'm going to take off my rear shock, unbolt that at the bottom. I don't need to unbolt the top because I'm not replacing my shocks. And yeah, so what that's going to be doing, like I mentioned earlier, is once all these components are unbolted, I can then lower my jack, which will, you know, separate from my leaf pack. I think my battery's dying on my little impact gun. Alright, so that's out. Alright guys, so you're going to use a 17 deep socket, metric. There it is. You might need a... Oh, it comes right out, but that was pretty easy. Usually you're going to need a little mallet to hammer the bolt out, and if you need to do that, don't be afraid of ruining the threads. It'll be alright. And now my shock's unbolted, so now the next step is I'm gonna actually put this jack stand at the second lowest, because I'm gonna have it catch my my axle. I mean, I'm gonna have the jack and I'm gonna lower it right now, so it's gonna relieve the tension. And that's all right, guys. So you see that little separation from the leaf pack from my axle? I finally got it, and it should release out of that little pinhole that the leaf pack has. So my next step, you got to be careful too, is this brake line. You can see my brake line is actually really tight right now, so be careful you don't drop your axle too low and rip your brake line off. So the next part is I'm going to unbolt the front bolts up there. I believe those are a 19 metric, and I'm going to do the same to the back, and then I'll show you guys the process of removing these as well. Here's a little bit better lighting. I put my headlamp on. It's a little dark under here. So this is the 19mm bolt that I'm taking out, and there's a locking nut on the rear end, so I'm going to zap that off real quick, and it should release some tension back here on the leaf pack. So check this out. Here we go. 19. Get my wrench. Come on. Alright, that bolts off. So I think there's a washer back there too. I'll take that washer off. And I'm going to loosen the back bolts now, and then again that should loosen all the tension, and we'll do that right now. There it is. Here we go. And that releases some tension. Alright guys, so I just took the front bolt out. Be careful as you're pulling it out. There is a little bit of tension on the leaf spring wanting to go up. So you know, my apologies for not being able to videotape that, but I needed two hands and another person. So what I ended up doing was getting underneath the truck, pulling the tension down, and at the same time having someone pull the bolt out. And I used a little flathead. Or at first I used the impact and put some pressure on the back of the bolt. It came out about 3/4 of the way, and then I used a little flathead to pry the rest of the bolt out. So be careful with that. Now I'm going to move on to the back. The bolts are already off, so we're going to take those off. Tap this back bolt out, just like so.
Good. Pop it out over here.
We're out.
You're good. You're good.
All right, let me see.
Watch that thing don't fall on you.
All right,
you're up.
I got it. Yeah, now next step in the process is drilling and grinding those rivets off. As you can see, I have 4 of them, and I'll show you part of it, but the other side took me like 2 or 3 hours to pop these rivets off, so I'll spare you guys and edit that part out, but I'll show you guys what I did and how I got them out. So I just grinded off the first rivet here with the grinder. I center punched it with a hole. Bring the camera closer. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. Center punched it. And then now I'm doing the same thing to the other one. I already got it started. So when I come back with the drill gun, I'm just gonna drill those out and just hammer them out. So stay tuned, and I'll show you guys a little bit of the footage here. GoPro just died, but I wanted to show you guys the aftermath of what the stock hanger looks like after I drilled out the rivets and everything. Here's the stock one that I just pulled out, and I preloaded the shackle on my leaf springs and put the polyurethane, I believe, bushings inside. And here's the new hammer hanger that's going to be going in, and it's going to be going right there. We're going to bolt it up. I'm just letting the black spray paint dry before I bolt it up, but that's what it looks like. So yeah, I'll show you guys how the leaf spring looks after I bolt up the hammer hanger. I just finished tightening down the 4 bolts that the Archive Garage gave me, and this is what it looks like. I also added the Archive Garage cross tube as well. It only takes 2 bolts, and it's pretty sweet, not gonna lie. So lastly, now all I have to do is put in my Deaver Stage 2 leaf pack and bolt everything up, and then I'm good to go. So yeah, like I told you, my GoPro died earlier, so I'm using my cell phone, and I don't have a mount to hold this, and I need 2 people to help me with the leaf spring install. So I won't be taking a video of that, but I'll show you the aftermath of what it looks like, so stay tuned. All right, so this is what the finished product looks like. I have my hammer hangers installed on both sides, and I noticed that I didn't give you guys a video on these Rago fabrication rock sliders for your rear shocks. They're pretty straightforward, not too hard. You know, you just as you're putting your rear shock back in, you put the skid plate in. It's got 2 holes here, 2 bolts, pretty straightforward. Slap these on, tighten them down, and you're good to go. So that's what that looks like on the driver's side, and here's the passenger side rock slider for the rear shock. And again, my apologies for not being able to film that part. I thought it was pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Should be able to figure it out. And again, if you guys have any questions on this install, please, leave a comment down below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any feedback or anything like that, yeah, feel free, let me know. And thanks for watching. Project Overland out.